Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's third IMPiLO Thursday call. As you know, this call is a specially catered call for where we dive deep into product to describe the product of the call. We don't do all the products on these calls. It's hosted on the last Thursday of every month. This is our third one, and we've got Cheryl, who's co-hosting me tonight. She's our expert. She's our African Dr. Ginger. Let's call her that. I've adopted her with that name. Hey, Shay? I have the right to call you that. Okay. So,
I disagree.
Well, that's your problem. I'm calling you that.
Okay.
Right. So, without further ado, so Cheryl, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, your background, and then I'll pilot the slides. Over to you.
Okay, I'm a clinical therapeutic reflexologist, applied homotoxicology practitioner, and I'm studying nutrition through Blackford Institute, nutrition advisor. And I've had quite a lot of experience with traditional Chinese medicine therapies, acupuncture, reflexology, cupping, and homotoxicology is the study of residual poisons in the body and how to get rid of it effectively with natural medicines. So coming to a program or a platform like New Age seemed very nice. I was first really impressed with the Slender Eyes because it's a homeopathic drops, and homotoxicology is a form of homeopathy. So that's what got my attention. And then, of course, I signed up, and now the Hero brand is a further extension of what I believe in. That means supplementation, but also lifestyle intervention. So that's a little bit of what I do. And Nick and I spoke about what we're going to present tonight. So we thought, well, this was Nick's idea, that IMMunoMX is the one thing we can start to use or promote autumn and winter, because at the end of autumn, are we coming into winter, so all the viruses will be around. So that's my introduction. Are you okay with that, Nick? Right. So the first thing we have to look at, right? Okay. So we've got Dr. Ginger has given everything, whatever I need, whatever we need to know. We go into our back office and we go look at, or we go into New Age Africa and we look at the information given. It's all there. Phytonutrients, that means nutrition from plants. It's there for us. So I don't have to, reiterate what she's already done. So what I'm going to bring is a little extra, which I feel could support, or you could use alongside with the knowledge already given to us. So winter, there is no cure for the common cold. If there were, vitamin C would not be sold every year religiously. So it's happening all the time. People are looking for immune support. And I listened to the Oryx and the New Age presentation, and they focus on redirecting your spending. So when we redirect your spending, it doesn't mean you're going to buy something different. You're going to buy what you already buy on another platform. And the beauty of it is there are some of our products that you will have 4 products in one. So it cuts costs considerably. The second part, it is, Nick's always saying this toxin-free, and I totally agree with him, because there are no side effects, there are no additives that we have to be afraid of in possibly the lower end multivitamins. These, I would say Dr. Ginger and Deanna have done everything possible to keep it a high end but affordable product for our market. So we're going to look at the, I think there's a slide here to show you what's different.
So before we get to that slide, I love this IMMunoMX because I take 2 every morning. And I just feel it's not only helped me with my immune system, because I can definitely feel that, but it's also helped me with my weight. This IMMunoMX of ours.
All right, there might be a reason for that, because I went through all the products, and one of the I spoke to someone today when we spoke about the IMMunoMX. Selenium, that's a very big, if you can even take that isolated, but the fact that it's with zinc it's such a potent trace mineral. And selenium is the one product, just let me get my notes out here. Selenium is a trace element that's essential for life. Okay? It's needed for, and this is why maybe you say it could help with your weight. It's needed for the production of your thyroid hormones, T3 and T4. Now, T4 is the unstable one, and it gets converted to T3. You'll often hear in pathophysiology or physiology anatomy, or what nurses study for the first 2 to 3 years, they learn about the thyroid and how it has to convert the T4 into an active compound called T3, and that's when your immune system starts to work properly. And selenium is one of the trace minerals that does it most effectively, really, really well. It also helps the immune response. So another thing we know about the thyroid is that it regulates your metabolism. It's your metabolic switch. So if you've got an underactive thyroid, you will gain weight. If you have an overactive thyroid, your weight, you can never pick up weight. And it's that fine balance, that fine tuning of those two hormones, that T3 and T4, that regulates basically all the metabolic processes. And it starts, if it's not being regulated, there's what they call a feedback loop, an upregulation. If it's not regulated, people can develop goiters, or you've seen there's some people have got, the eyeballs tend to protrude, and that it's called exophthalmos. It's from the Greek word for protrusion, and that shows an excessive amount of burning up of the thyroid, that it causes the protrusion of the eyeballs. But when people get, when the thyroid is balanced, then even that protrusion of the eyeballs can actually go back in. I know it sounds like science fiction, but it's quite something. And a goiter is also developed when you're lacking iodine, definitely. And also, again, when the thyroid is malfunctioning. If the thyroid is not, it seems to be like the thyroid and the liver are those two areas that control the life's mechanisms in the body. Also, selenium, it increases, here's another interesting point, it increases the production of interferon. So interferon, it's a protein that's made in the body, and it helps to combat viruses. But how does it combat the virus? By preventing the growth, the bacterial growth. So that's wonderful, because we can't stop the virus from coming in, but the selenium stops that virus from growth. And anything that grows gets stronger. So if it stops it in that way, eventually it gets weak and the virus will die. Obviously, there are other factors important as well. And I see you've put up an oyster. Oyster's got zinc, it's got selenium, Brazil nuts have got selenium, mushrooms have selenium. There are a variety of foods, but a lot of people are deficient in it. And so a multivitamin, or like we've got in our IMMunoMX, is a great support. Also with the advent of, what is this, veganism? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, with the advent of vegan and vegetarian, most of those people have plant-based diets. So to some extent, the highest forms of selenium, you can see Dr. Ginger's actually put it on our information brochure. It's in animal foods, and plant foods have got it, but you have to eat a lot of lentils, and you have to do nutritional knowledge into plant-based diets so that you won't lack any of these vital trace elements.
Wow, oysters.
So
Yeah.
Oysters really good in it, yeah.
107% B12. Oysters.
B12 also in the red meat. So people who don't eat red meat, you'll find vegans, the first thing a vegan has to find or check is their B12 status. And more often than not, they are told to take a supplement because B12 is readily absorbed. It's absorbed in the gut. And if you've got gut issues, then your B12 is not going to extract it from the food. So gut health is vital for immunity as well. Okay. I made a post in IMPiLO about how gut health, the lining of the gut health, it's our not immuno, the other one that we're taking for enzymes. Yes, that digestive enzymes. It's brilliant because it's helping. We sometimes, who doesn't have gut problems at some stage in their life? You know, IBS seems to be a big thing nowadays. So that means people with IBS lack the enzymes, or they lack the ability to produce the enzymes. And that's what whoever's Dr. Ginger and whoever else is made. It's a broad spectrum. So she's covered all of that. It's wonderful. Okay, I'm going off topic.
It's amazing. No, absolutely. It's important. It's important. You know what I've realized?
It's synergistic.
Cheryl, yes, exactly that. It's synergistic. Yes. So all the products that we've got work together. You know, they don't have one function. They have a multifunction.
Yes, they do.
Our products.
So I take what I do sometimes with the Digest Assist. If I'm having yogurt, I open the capsule and I sprinkle it on my yogurt. And it actually starts the digestive breakdown in the food. I read that, a little hack. And yeah, so people who don't like to take all these tablets, open your capsule and sprinkle it on some food. Okay, we're on to zinc. The next one is zinc. Okay, this is one mineral that is highly concentrated in the brain.
Just tell me, sorry, Cheryl, am I going too far for the slide?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. Zinc is one mineral that's highly concentrated in the brain. The highest density is found in the hippocampus. Now, the hippocampus is the area where humans learn. They make new neurons and new ideas in a rapidly growing brain. So if you're not eating enough fish, because that's your high source, not necessarily oysters, fish and meat for zinc. And so many people are deficient in zinc. Sometimes the absorption levels are not there, but seafood, if we look at it, that's why people today are promoting omega-3, because the ratio of omega-3s to omega-6 used to be 1 to 6. Now I don't know what the ratio is today, but there's such an imbalance of omega-3s that we're having inflammatory conditions, a host of inflammation in the system, and a lot of nutritionists and modern research has put it down to a lack of omega-3s. Where do you find omega-3? In seafood, in fatty fish, in salmon, in mackerel, sardines, in what is the other one? Seafood, not seafood, seaweed. So we can get omega-3s. And another thing is that the brain is made up of DHA. And what is DHA? It's fat. It's a fatty acid in the brain. And you only get that from seafood. So there was an old wives' tale that people would say, you eat fish, you get clever. And it was an old wives' tale, but science now has shown that DHA which is fish, extract from fish, is made up, it's in the brain. So when you take omega-3 tablets, it's got to go through what they call the blood-brain barrier to get into the brain. But if you eat fish or you eat seafood straight up, that doesn't need to go down to the blood-brain barrier. It gets into the system and to the brain. It uptakes those omega-3s. And zinc is critical for wound healing. It's also to boost immune function. And you'll see at chemists, they sometimes have, zinc ointment. You've heard of zinc ointment? When you cuts and wounds, you put a little ointment on that has zinc in it, and it speeds up healing. Another thing also with let's see, the other one we've got is Echinacea. I don't know how you pronounce it. I say Echina, or some people say Echinacea. This is the other ingredient in our IMMunoMX. This plant is interesting because I don't know if you've heard of the Vogel remedies, Alfred Vogel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was the researcher that went to Native America, and that's where he found the purple flower, which is the Echinacea. And he discovered that the tribals, they use that for healing and for immune and for bolstering all bodily functions. So it's become a big usage in Europe. And then, of course, it was brought to America and the rest of the world. So this plant can boost the immune system and it can fight infections, but it works a completely different mechanism with antibiotics, because it works on that path of boosting the good bacteria. And antibiotics, when you take a lot of antibiotics, what does it do to the intestinal flora? It creates an imbalance, because our body is hosting good and bad. They call it flora and fauna. So intestinal means it's in the intestine, in the stomach, in the gut. When you take probiotics, what is not probiotics, antibiotics? What is anti? It means against. So the antibiotic is killing off the bad guys, the bad bugs in the system, but it's also killing off the good guys, because it's not selecting. It's there to do one job, and that's to kill a biotic, and which is a bacteria. So in killing off the bad guys, it kills off the good soldiers as well. And that creates the imbalance. Whereas Echinacea doesn't do that. It allows the body to heal or to get an immune response without killing off any of the bacteria, which is wonderful. So it's a product that would mean you can limit, or you can even do without taking an antibiotic if you need to. So this was, and another thing, it was used for viral infections worldwide, and it's still used for viral infections, especially in the times we're living in, where virus infections it's out of control. And it becomes out of control because our system hasn't been built up with enough immunity. So the best we can do is take these 2 tablets in the morning, but you look at the ingredient list, the Echinacea, the selenium, the zinc, all boost your immunity on different levels. The zinc works on the brain, and we often hear of the gut-brain axis. You must have heard of that, where if there's something wrong in the tummy, it affects your thinking, it clouds your thinking, foggy thinking. So if gut health is not good, then it affects the brain. And if the brain's not working, how else can the rest of the body be optimized? Because every message comes from the mitochondria in the brain. So that's a nice symbiotic or synergy between those two. And then, of course, vitamin D, that goes without saying. Vitamin D is produced on the skin. When sunlight hits it, it becomes what they call sulfated. So when the sunlight hits your skin, that's when the cholesterol is formed on the skin, which is vitamin D. So vitamin D is actually a hormone, not a tablet. But if we don't eat enough, if we don't get into the sun enough, or some sick people cannot get out, then a vitamin D supplement is a good thing to take. And of course, vitamin C, I don't think I have to explain what vitamin C does. There's something also that Dr. Ginger wrote about on our brochure. Speaks about the innate immune system. Innate means nature has made it that on our skin, we've got bacteria. We've got bacteria in our mouth, in our nose, everywhere. And it's so that if I pick up a pen lying on my desk, and I sometimes chew on the pen, when we write, then you sit and think, that little bit of germ on the pen or the hand, it's not going to kill you, because your body is able constantly, it's innate, it's in you to fight the bacteria. So the innate ability to fight with germs and to heal itself is there. But sometimes it needs a bit of help. And that's when your viruses and the colds and the flu comes in. And then we have external help in the form of herbs, in the form of good nutrition, in the form of good sleep, And there's an old saying that said, if the head and neck are kept warm, the rest will come to no harm. But so many people just don't, take basic knowledge of nutrition. There's enough knowledge out there for us to know what is good and what isn't good. So these tablets that they formulated for us is just to tip the scales a little bit in our favor, because it's no good taking all this nutrition and not adjusting our lifestyle. So that's another thing I wanted to point out. There are some zinc sources here. You can see oysters, chickpeas, shrimps, salmon, eggs, dairy products, pumpkin, oats, and dark chocolate. Again, nothing trumps the nutrition from the source that has the highest. And that is, they've got oysters, but second to that is seafood and fish. And I see salmon. Dr. Ginger's got salmon in, even with her diet, the thermo diet. But it doesn't necessarily have to be salmon. There are tuna. Tuna is really high in zinc and very high in omega-3s. So I see she hasn't got omega-3 in our formulation. That might come at a later stage. But right now, the zinc that she's put in there should cover a little of our nutritional deficiencies. So that's about wraps it up. If you want to ask me anything else, there's the Echinacea, the flower. Yeah. And what was the other slide, Nick? Oh, the gut-brain axis. I think I've put that one in.
No.
Not sure if you got it. Yeah.
That's all I got, though. That's all I got. But it's fine. You know what I've seen? It's amazing. It's important. This zinc is very, very, very important.
Very much so. Yeah.
You know.
It's
yeah.
It also, selenium is a trace mineral that transports zinc into the brain and into the thyroid. It's called an ionophore. It acts as a transporter carrier. And that's another brilliant thing that she's put the two together. So when you go to shops, you'll see zinc and selenium. Why? Because those chemists, those nutritionists, those wonderful people who have studied, they know the symbiosis between zinc and selenium. And on the thyroid, and I've said it before on this call, there are selenoproteins in the thyroid. So those proteins, they wait for the selenium to come, and they can pick it up, absorb it. It's called the selenoprotein from the selenium that we take into our body. And it's those proteins that stimulates the T4 into T3. And once we've got that going, then our immune system it becomes the innate immunity. That's innate. That's what I don't know, whatever you believe in, I say nature, God, or whatever you wish to believe in. That's the innate immunity that's in everyone's system, so that we don't fall over when a wasp stings us. We don't fall over if we're breathing in a little bit of gas. That's our natural immunity. And to keep that innate immunity working, we need to make sure we sleep well, we eat well, we drink, stay hydrated. That's another one. Sometimes dehydration can also cause your body to not function well. You need to have clean water, drinking water, not tea and coffee, but water. So that's zinc here. It's zinc and selenium. Vitamin D, again, also at times underrated. And there's a huge pandemic of low vitamin D levels. And if you look at it, we're living in a microwaved world. We're inside all the time. People hardly get outside, in front of computers. We're housebound. And even by choice at times when we can go out, we are in front of screens. And that light that comes from the screen all the time onto our skin there's a chemical called opsin. It's not just in the eye, it's in the skin as well. And that chemical gets into the skin and it dehydrates the cells. That light that's constantly burning. And now you'll see companies are saying blue light, what do you call that? Skincare. When you go out into the beach, what is that thing you put on your face? Sunblock. Yeah. So now they're creating sunblock to counteract the effect of glare of the computer, which is also dehydrating your skin.
Wow.
And yeah, it's quite, and it gets into the eyes, and there's a thing in the eyes called opsin. So it gets into the eye, and that rays, it penetrates right into the brain, into the mitochondria. So, and look, if you look at where's the major things happening today, it's gut health, it's Alzheimer's, brain health, and heart disease. And those three areas have got the most dense mitochondria. So we have to look after our gut, our brains, and our hearts, and be aware that sitting in with technology as well can also pose a danger. But that's a whole new a new podcast.
Cheryl, thank you so much once again. You're amazing. I really appreciate you. So what did we learn out of this? So you know, our products, we come with a hero quality promise. And listening to you today, Cheryl, just makes me so much more confident on our product, because one of the promises that we have out of the 4 is what you see on the label is in the product. And you've given us all the benefits of IMMunoMX tonight. And no wonder it works, and it works rapidly, you know, because what's written on the label is in the product. And that's what must make all of us confident in talking about our product and offering our product. Okay, number 1. Number 2, the fact that all our products, the 5, go together. And I've put Amino Guard one side now. Yeah. On the weight, in fact, Amino Guard's also got to helps with weight. But, you know, they all go together, you know, and that's why we get the results that we get, right?
You know something, Nic, the selenium, it also promotes white blood cell count. And that's wonderful for viruses. Yes. That's happening. Not just COVID. I'm not talking COVID, or I'm talking your influenza season, your flu season. So just taking, even if you just took it for that alone, it's so brilliant. So I had to, that's a point I wanted to
absolutely.
Impress upon.
So that said, I just want to, Sarah, if Sarah can just unmute. I want to thank you, Cheryl, and I want to thank everybody for coming onto the call. But at 9 o'clock South African time, now after this call, there's a Tony Robbins. Is it Dave Diamantis? Dave, whatever. So
you're afraid of aging or something.
They're doing a health seminar. It's a 4-hour seminar. So staying in South Africa, Dubai. Dubai's 2 hours ahead of us. So Sarah's not sleeping tonight, and tonight she mustn't, because she punishes me. So from 9 o'clock, and as long as you can stay awake, you know, I urge all of you to get on this thing. But Sarah, just tell us quickly what it's about, so that we get off the thing. And I'm gonna post the link that Sarah's just sent me now on the WhatsApp groups, so that you all get them. And those that want to get onto this the Zoom, just click on the link, and you might have to register before you get on, but at least you got the link. So Sarah.
Okay, so Tony Robbins has been working on a book which is huge. Okay, it's all about how we can take our own health into our own control, rather than it be through doctors and through other means. And so he's worked with doctors, he's worked with scientists to create this book with lots of information. So what's happening tonight is he's actually talking about the knowledge that he's put into his book, and he's got 10 people who are going to come on the call, and they're actually they're all doctors and scientists. They're all going to come on, and they're going to run through what he has put in this book and how they've worked together. So it's going to be absolutely amazing, because we all want to be in control of our health, and we're in this business, right? So we are so, you know, we're overrun with the passion that we want to be fit and healthy and have longer living lives. We don't want to be on the sofa not being able to move. We want to be able to have the energy. We want to be able to have, you know, life and enjoy it as long as we can with the healthiest ways. So that's what this book is all about. It's split into many different sections, and I've only just started to read it. But what I've already read, I would highly recommend everybody gets a copy of this book. You can go onto his Tony Robbins website and you can order it, and he delivers it everywhere around the world. So this is definitely a find for me. And I joined the Inner Circle actually, and we've been reading part of this. My husband's been reading it, and there's a lot of really, really important information in here that we can all benefit from. So by going in this call tonight, you're going to learn a lot, and it's going to benefit us because we're in this business. So whatever we learn, we can actually share with the people who we're working with. And so we can actually share the recording as well, because in YouTube, which is the link that I've just sent Nick, if you join in that Zoom, YouTube, you'll be able to rewatch, because if you follow Tony Robbins, he will keep a record of that. So you'll be able to go back and watch it, and you'll be able to share that with your team, with your family, with friends, anybody who you want to share it with. You'll be able to click on that link and share it with them.
Thank you, Sir. Thank you so much. So guys, there you have it. That's our call for tonight. Thank you so much for joining. I think we're all going to go and get ready now and watch the marathon. So we'll learn a lot. Knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is powerful. So that's my story, and I'll stick to it. I'll see you guys on Tuesday next week. Thank you. Take care and enjoy the Zooms that you'll be on. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, Nick.
Thank
Good night,
you.
Cheryl.
Thank you,
Good night.
Cheryl.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Cheryl.
Cheers.
Thank you.